Hello and welcome to another update video about Ethereum. Ethereum is currently holding still above $2,800, but we had a 4.5% drop today. We talked about two possibilities here, and we also talked about when they become more likely. So let's take a look at this one. This is still on the chart from the last video. We can identify here a potential first impulse to the upside, a correction down, and we could now be in the third wave up. But I said this third wave for me, or this will only become a valid impulse if we break above this red line, which is the $3,430 level. If we do not break above this level, my primary expectation remains that we are going to see a sell-off further back into the target area, possibly all the way down to the low of the target area, which is around $1,700. What we see here from the low here as we touched that blue target area again could be regarded as an impulse, but I don't necessarily like this structure. I've got the same headache with this structure here as I had it back here. You're coming down too far. You know, you've got these sort of holes in the chart. You're coming down too far in each of these waves up. Yeah, so you've got these overlaps which aren't great. So you have this is fine, but now the next one already you're coming down too far. So yeah, you could count it as a 1-2 and another 1-2, but it's just not great. It's similar to what we had here. Yeah, and as long as I said, as long as we don't, or at least make a higher high here, at least get above 3,271, but actually 3,430. If we don't break above that, as long as we don't do that, my primary expectation remains that we're coming down once more lower into the target area, and we can now even identify here another descending trend line here. You've got that, so it's a descending trend line that we need to keep an eye on. Yeah, absolutely. We want to keep an eye on that. You know that Ethereum did break out of this channel here. Yeah, so we did that. That provided support again together with my blue target area that has been live since November really. We obviously came into it, and as I said before, for every new viewer, anything in this target area here for me is it was buying area really, because this is the area in which with the highest probability the price can turn around. Now I can't tell you if the low was in already, if the low will be at the next fib level at 2060 or at 1700, but anywhere in here. So I wouldn't necessarily wait for the lowest low. There's no financial advice, it's only what I wouldn't do. Yeah, I wouldn't wait for the lowest low necessarily. I would split up my buy orders. I've done that. A lot of buy orders have triggered, actually already a little bit higher, because I just want to keep the emotions out, to be honest. Yeah, but my view is that we are really in the last meters of the correction. And yes, of course, we could come down from now to 1700, but most likely at least to 2060. And 2060, that is the 88.7% Fibonacci level. That is the level that I'm definitely watching out for, because we did here that fib level here at 2380, the 78.6% fib level, that was broken before, and we didn't really get to the next fib level. So the $2,060 level is for me likely. And to be honest, since we have moved up here, we've made a lower low and then another lower low. It doesn't look great generally, right? It doesn't look great. Therefore, yeah, I would expect, as I've seen it, put it here with the arrow, primarily, as I've also said in the last video, primarily I would expect this sell-off still to happen before we can go up. Of course, there is an alternative, but that only becomes live if we break above $3,430, and then we can talk about, you know, was the low really already in? But because you never know until you really have seen the low in the past, you know, look back and see, all right, that was the low. Until that's actually happening, you have to assume, you can only speculate. That's just what it is. We can only wait for confirmations, and the confirmation for me would be that $3,430 level, but also at least a break above the 50-day moving average. And as you can see here, we've lost it again. So you see that orange line coming down here, or brown or whatever color it is. Coming down here, fake out above the 50-day moving average, fake out again above the 50, and fake out again. We've dropped below it. The 50-day moving average is sitting at 2,870, so that was broken, and yeah, it's heading further south, especially as on the 4-hour chart, we've broken back into the bearish range on the RSI. The MACD on the 4-hour chart also bearish, no sign of recovery yet, so that indicates further price drops. On the 8-hour chart, I wouldn't be surprised if we're also going to see here a bearish crossover shortly, and that all indicates lower prices. Yeah, so all of that going in line with primary expectations here. Also here on the daily, back in the bearish range, and also losing buying pressure on the daily MACD. And we've talked about this anyway here on the weekly, still pointing down, even though selling pressure is reducing, but that already indicates a potential completion of the correction soon, at least, yeah, because it needs to prepare for that. So it is the higher level time frame. So here it takes a bit longer to swap around and to turn around. So we could already see the beginning of the, I mean, we see the slowing down of the downtrend anyway. Yeah, we've seen that. So that could already prepare us here for a end of the correction soon, which doesn't mean that in the shorter time frames we could drop further. Absolutely, yeah. Also, 4-day chart here is going to print a bullish crossover probably fairly soon. But again, it depends now on what's happening on the daily chart. The 2-day chart gives us a bullish crossover here. Yeah, I mean, we had it anyway, but it's just increased buying pressure again. But the shorter time frames, they are turning rather bearish now. So we can expect that if it starts on the, it always starts on the shorter time frames anyway, and that will then translate into the higher time frames. Okay, so yeah, overall it is on the short time frames probably the case that we are going down, and that will translate onto the 4-day chart as well, and probably the weekly as well at some point, depending on how strong that sell-off will now be, and that could then indicate further price drops. And here especially, and that worries me, on the monthly, the bearish MACD crossover anyway. We talked about that since end of last year, that this could happen, and if that happens, then yeah, this is nothing from where you could just start for new all-time highs in my view. Okay, so be careful here, be careful. And maybe one last look here at the let's take a look at the stochastic RSI, yeah, just to see if that gives us any additional value here. And yeah, here as well on the daily we've got a yeah, basically an overbought signal, so where the RSI has just dropped into the bearish range. Also here you have a sell signal on the daily, so Ethereum is probably going to drop a little bit more here. That's what I see here on the chart, and again that would be in line with expectations. And the next support level that I see here is again this fib level here, 2,380. If you lose it, 2,060. If you lose it, 1,700. That's my view on Ethereum. Hopefully you liked the update. If you did, please smash the like button and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then yeah, check out the channel membership, where you can get access to the Telegram live chat, the Discord server, and the weekly live stream. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.